one-hand cockback.
Oh! Bringing the fans to their feet, putting a man in the rim.
A.J. Lawson! Oh my Lord!
Welcome to the NPA on NPH.
We're live. Game 2 of 7. GTA Prep. In the red with white trim. B.E.A.S.T Prep. The blue and whites. Jason Tom here alongside Daniele Franceschi. Tarek needed a break after 3 quarters. I'm joking. We all know Tarek's always got stuff going on.
He's a busy man.
Happy Moalen.
He's a busy man.
GTA Prep came out on the losing end yesterday against TBA in a hard-fought game. A lot of positives in that one. Happy Moalen was outstanding. Casey Zagu continued to add to his league-leading rebound totals. One guy who we expected to see more from, and it'll be interesting to see what he brings today, was AJ Lawson.
He was a little quiet yesterday in that loss against TBA, and I mean overall that game as a whole, there's a lot of sloppy play, and AJ just never found his comfort zone, and he still managed to put up some decent numbers, but it certainly wasn't a typical what we've come to expect from AJ Lawson. It wasn't an AJ Lawson-esque performance, that's for sure. So I expect him to have a big game here this morning, and hopefully, you know, for GTA's sake, they're going to want him to be in top form, get back into the win column.
And as you had mentioned, AJ Lawson also known for his short memory. So I don't see him having any carryover here, but the matchups are going to be interesting. Like right here, Casey Zagu averaging almost 13 boards a game, taking on the big man, Anthony Bradshaw. So that will be an interesting matchup to watch. And the other interesting matchup is who's going to guard AJ Lawson for this B.E.A.S.T Prep squad.
Well, that's a challenge. He's such a mismatch, especially on the defensive end of the floor, presents so many challenges defensively. And then this matchup with Casey Zagu and Anthony Bradshaw. Bradshaw wired for sound today, actually, for North Pole Hoops. So keep your eyes peeled to our YouTube channel for that video in the future. But you know, one of the things with Casey Zagu, yes, rebounding, obviously his forte. Another thing, though, if he continues to add different elements to his game offensively, he's going to be that much more dynamic as a threat on both ends of the floor. And yesterday in particular, one of the deficiencies that was very glaring, his lack of confidence in his left hand, going to the offhand, and you see that they do try to dump it down inside. So this is a big matchup today for Anthony Bradshaw going up against Casey Zagu, who checks in at about 6'9", 6'10" on the Richter scale.
And I think the other thing with Casey, his teammates need to give him a chance to succeed on the offensive end. They need to give him the ball chest and up. I mean, when he's getting passes in his ankles, as you see Dylan Nelson continuing his hot hand carrying over from yesterday. But, you know, like any big man, if you're giving passes waist and down, I mean, it's difficult to succeed. And I put a lot of that on his teammates because they know who they're playing with. They need to deliver that ball on point, on time, on target.
And make no mistake about it, it's a luxury to have a guy who can, I mean, rebound the ball very proficiently, can block shots, can be such a force on both ends of the court. But in that scenario, in that situation right there, we see him attack Anthony Bradshaw. He gets to the foul line. One of the things, although he did, you know, get the benefit of a foul call there. Drop your shoulder and continue to push forward and use your body and your size, your physique to your advantage. And like we were saying, part of having that luxury is you have to make sure you keep them engaged, especially on the offensive end of the court.
I'll tell you this, we're 2 minutes in and B.E.A.S.T already has 3 personal fouls as a team. So Anthony Bradshaw finds himself on the bench. I believe he got 2 of those 3.
Might have got away with the travel there.
It's so hard to call that on AJ. He can cover so much space with those long legs.
And the speed. the ferocity with which he attacks.
Well, I've seen him play in some small courts, or at least courts that seem smaller in the Toronto area.
Oh, yeah.
And sometimes it almost feels like there's not enough room for him, because it's like 3 strides and he's covered the entire length of the floor.
That's one of the things that really stands out, his explosiveness. Even yesterday, he wasn't hitting shots necessarily, but I mean, the way he gets up and down the floor, it's tough to defend him.
Matthew Green. Corner. Dylan Nelson. He just lives behind the arc. I'm curious if he knows that there are other portions of the floor. Here's AJ pushing it back the other way. Nice find into the corner. Nelson proving me wrong, getting himself down underneath, battling for the rebound.
Well, we know Nelson can shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
Now the next step is to threaten him and see if he can attack off the dribble. You want to stay tight on him on the perimeter if you're GTA. He, had 6-7 triples last night, comes out, hits an early one here. And that could kind of set the tone. And we talked about B.E.A.S.T yesterday in their game against RNS and their ability to penetrate, drive and kick, get open opportunities along the perimeter.
So we're 2:55 into the game. We got one team in the bonus.
That means a long quarter ahead.
And I talk about it all the time, at this age group especially. The missed free throws kill me.
It's interesting. Yesterday in our final game, we were talking extensively about the girl side of things in terms of the the prep world, and that whole circuit, that whole scene. The girls are just knockdown shooters. Like that's the difference in the skill set. Is these girls take advantage of free throws. They're shooting it proficiently, and the boys on the other hand, it just seems like that's one of the aspects of their game that when they get to the foul line, you're giving away free points.
Yeah. One of the things I always found interesting at the the higher levels in the Canadian basketball camps I've been at is I always appreciate when in the middle of the most intense part of the practice, the coaches then stop everything and scream out free throws. Like that's when you need to shoot your free throws. If you're a kid out there working out on your own in the gym and you're giving yourself a good sweat in, try to work it into your program that when your heart rate is at its highest, you go to the free throw line, and that's when you're supposed to practice those free throws.
100%. 100%.
Well, a lot of guys either start their practice that way or end their practice that way, but you're always winding down your practice as it is. So shooting at the end isn't necessarily going to help you. Like very rarely are you on the line at the final seconds of the game. And a lot of times those free throws don't mean anything. If you're up 20 and at the line or down 20 at the line, who cares if you hit or miss those? Oh, GTA Prep trying to get out on the open floor. The other thing I really found with this GTA Prep squad, we talk a lot about AJ Lawson and Casey Azagu. This team's only going to go as far as their tertiary pieces compete and hit their shots.
Depth is so important, and it can't be understated just how significant it is, because you can't, basketball is a team game, you can't rely on a couple different pieces. Sure, you have your, when you need a bucket, you're hoping that your main guys are going to deliver, but at the same time, you're going to need other guys to step up, and that's definitely part of the equation when you want to, develop into a championship caliber team. AJ Lawson, I believe, took a visit to Kentucky a couple of weeks ago.
Like an unofficial?
Unofficial. Although, I mean, he was seen in the gym working out, shooting around, spent a couple days down there. And that's pretty impressive for a guy who, of course, many believe is one of the top prospects in his class.
job cutting off that Euro step, but still finishing. Moalen, who Elias Sabate said yesterday was the best player on the floor in that game, and I would have to agree with him. All the little things that you need to win, Moalen provides that.
You can see AJ Lawson trying to be extremely aggressive coming out here, especially with his team trailing. He's trying to generate some opportunities here offensively and create his own shot, but just gotta be patient, you know, pick your spots. And I think the measure of good players that are transcendent talents, they know when to put their stamp on a game. I think that's the difference with a lot of the, guys who are good, and then you have your great players. And the gap is, it's not necessarily massive. It's just that those guys know when they need to make plays.
From downtown, A.J. Lawson, that was, really his primary source of offense last year on a team that really struggled, just really didn't have the pieces needed. And A.J. just launched a lot from range, which allowed him to kind of, work on those long-range shots. This year, he's obviously taken to the rim a little bit more, and that outside game has trailed off a little, but I mean, he's always going to have that in his game.
We see GTA going a little bit smaller here, and one of the things that obviously B.E.A.S.T boasts is a big front court. They have some size, but going with a couple of small lineups and the pace is ramping up.
Dondre Reddick. There's a handful of guys on this GTA prep squad that average double digits in points, and that's what I meant is, this team really needs to have everybody scoring. They need to have everybody hitting their shots. And when they don't, they really struggle no matter, who they have in this lineup. A star in A.J. Lawson, a dominant big like Casey Zagu. It's a game of basketball. It's a team game, right?
Absolutely. It's about, that's why there's 5 guys on the floor at the same time, and there's got to be a cohesiveness and a synergy that is spread throughout the entire team and the entire locker room.
Tyrese Todd splits a pair.
GTA plays with pace. They're a team that's not going to sit back and get deep into the shot clock. They run their set. They get up and down the floor, and that's also the luxury and one of the great skills that A.J. Lawson possesses. Is he, like we talked about, him gliding up and down the floor. He's across half court by the time the shot clock is in 21 seconds, and that's seldom do you see that from a lot of floor generals.
And I think this is where we're going to see the difference in these two teams. Although B.E.A.S.T has led from the beginning of this game, the difference is going to be in that depth where B.E.A.S.T maybe doesn't have the bench that they can go to. GTA Prep, have guys off the bench like Tristan Lindo, the Halati brothers who can light it up from range. They have added weapons when their starters need a rest, or when their starters don't have it. I mean, their starters came out today and laid an egg in the opening couple of minutes, right? And you can throw AJ out with those guys, and he's only going to make those guys better. And you can throw him into that point guard position, and he can make them better by putting the ball on the platter for him.
Yeah, that's one of the other things with AJ Lawson. Where you watched him yesterday. I mean, he's a threat both on the ball, off the ball. He can operate in space. You can, run him off screens. You can obviously utilize his athleticism, and so he's a threat in a variety of different ways. Has so many different elements to his game because he's not always going to be the guy initiating the offense every time up and down the floor. He's going to also operate off the basketball and create opportunities that way.
GTA Prep doing a good job defensively here and on the glass.
Good pass. Broken play.
Yeah. It's Michael Palamarchuk who let that pass go through. I like to say he did that on purpose, but we'll give it to him, right? Or sorry, that was Mark Giles, not Mike Palamarchuk. Giles. .301 left here in the first. Let's make it 3 minutes.
Good defensive play.
That's Lindo. Wow, taking it into bodies.
That's what good defense does. You get a stop, you get out, you get a guy leaking down the floor, layup, count it, plus the foul. Good defense turns into easy offense.
Lindo sent to the bench. Coach Coop didn't like what he saw there, forcing it into 3 defenders, and he brings out Jalen Frizzell, Chicago, Illinois product, added just before the end of our transfer window. Coach Coop looking to the ill for some reinforcements after a tough season last year without the horses he needed. Coach Coop has one thing on his mind this year, and it's national title. Right now,
oh yeah,
his squad is down 7 to B.E.A.S.T prep.
Just want to see some touch around the rim. I mean, you see him. He can get by anybody. He can do whatever and whenever, you know, as he pleases on the court. He's just got to, you want to see that soft touch around the basket, be able to finish.
Yeah, it's a tough art to master when you can finish strong like AJ can, knowing, you know, when you're in position to do that, and like when you decide how you're going to finish. Right, in a situation like that, he wasn't going to be able to dunk it.
No.
So he needs to have that mentality going up. This is how I'm going to finish.
It's almost that Russell Westbrook-like mindset.
Yep.
Right. I mean, he's going from one end of the court to the other, and I mean, he knows in his mind, he's thinking, okay, nobody can really stop me, prevent me from getting to where I want to go. Now, it's the game happens so fast, you're processing things so quickly, and that makes it challenging. And he's gonna come together for him.
Into the corner. Lawson running this offense, calling for the Laddie scream, passes it off before. Corner 3, count it. Coach Coop bellowing at Scotty Austin to box out on D. Another new addition.
Almost cost him a possession right there.
Another new addition to GTA Prep, number 8. Chiamezu Chucks Matty. We're just going to go with his nickname, BB. It's BB right now with the ball.
Great move. Great move.
Didn't take him long. BB out of the Hammer, Hamilton, Ontario, taking it at B.E.A.S.T Prep, our reps from Hamilton, Ontario.
Oh, man.
Dylan Nelson.
Oh, man.
Dylan Nelson's got the flamethrower out.
I believe that's what the kids call a headshot. Oh, man. This guy can really stroke it from beyond the arc. Very impressive to watch.
That's another guy who can do it, and that's Halati, but that was off range from the release point. Nice pass by BB.
No, he can really play. He can really play, and you saw it on that baseline drive, on that initial possession when he checked into the game. Caught it, faced up, made a strong move with the left hand.
A.J. Lawson with the hammer.
Oh, man, with authority. An emphatic one-handed slam.
Once again, GTA Prep on the run. A.J. Lawson He's getting it going now, folks. The A.J. Lawson show has been kept behind curtains up until this point. Maybe that will get him going. Back-to-back spikes. And again, GTA Prep on the run. Halati loses it. That hurts. There was an opportunity there for GTA Prep to tie this game.
Well, that was a big run. Either way, big run to end the quarter. Now you have 0.3 remaining here. B.E.A.S.T is going to inbound, but to get it, I mean, at one point trailing by double digits here at the first quarter, and A.J. Lawson comes down and makes a couple big plays offensively, and that just keeps everyone engaged. A play like that.
End of the first quarter, 24-22. GTA Prep down 2. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Chill, chill. My name is A.J. Lawson, and I'm mic'd up for Northwell Hoops. Let's get it. You know what to do. We do this. Ooh. Get it, boy! Yo, juice me, juice me, juice me, juice me. Oh, yay. Let's need some juice. Oh, yeah. It's definitely gonna work today. Yup. Woo! Hey! Hey, 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 hey. Woo! Windy!
All right, get you right out with it. Have some fun. Let's go out here. Let's get some stuff.
Yes, sir. Hey, 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 straight blood.
Yeah,
That's on the land.
trying to land. That's gravity, right? But
No, but he was leading.
no one was on her yet. No one was on her yet.
Euro. Come on. Frick, I gotta finish the first one.
It's the back of A.J. Lawson, who got it going with a couple of spikes. I'm sure seeing the ball go through the hoop, especially when you're looking down at the rim, is a little helpful to get things going.
I'd say that's pretty fulfilling. I wish
Spoken
I could.
by two guys who obviously know how that feels.
Exactly. I was just gonna say, I wish I could experience that one day.
Nelson has been getting it going from range, but couldn't get it to drop from in close. Corner 3. A.J. Lawson.
Nobody boxing out on the weak side, and A.J. Lawson swoops in for the easy putback.
Now, considering B.E.A.S.T Prep was in the foul bonus 3 minutes into this game, they're lucky that they're sitting here hanging by 24. And, you know, we were just saying, like, this is a good team with good pieces. They need to learn how to play together. And on top of all of that, they need to stay away from these stretches where they just seem to kind of, you know, lose who they are. And we saw that at the end of that first quarter. Got really sloppy with the ball, and I mean, you let GTA Prep get out in the open floor and you're going to be in trouble quick.
And that's part of the growth of a first-year program. You're going to struggle, and it's going to take some time to establish an identity, and that's what they're going through right now. It's not a question of whether or not they have the pieces. It's a matter of putting it together and getting everybody on the same page, and we talked about that yesterday. You see them go through these spurts where they're inconsistent, and then they give you these glimpses of potential, and it's really a tale of two halves, if you will, when you look at this team, because sometimes they're locked in, engaged, mentally focused, and prepared, and then at other times it just seems like they suffer from lapses in concentration.
You know, the other thing with a team that's new together and also new to this league, I would like to see them pull back a little bit and talking to the officials and allow their coach to do that. Greg Robitaille is very good the way that he approaches the refs. He's, you know, maybe demonstrative, but quietly on the sidelines, and then has a conversation with the official. And it doesn't matter how the coach does it. The key for a player is to allow the coach to do it. Because, you know, you're never going to get any positivity yelling or reacting to the official, because, like, let's break it down specifically here. You're a between 16, 17, 18-year-old kid, and you're dealing with grown men who are here doing a job that a lot of the times is on top of another job that they have.
Absolutely.
They're not coming here. They hear it from the fans. They hear it from the coaches. They don't need to hear it from a 16-year-old kid who's still learning to play the game of basketball. Like, you can take the worst official in the world, and I know there are officials who aren't great. That's fine. But guess what? They still know more about the game than you do.
These officials have a thankless job. It's the toughest job in the sport. It's a very, very incredulous position to hold. I mean, it's just tough, right? There's no, you're in a position where either way you're not going to make anybody happy. And having been on the sideline myself and understanding, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had quite a few encounters with officials.
But that's fine as a coach.
But you know,
fine.
It's part of the game, and the players at this age, you get certain, it reveals a lot about the character of the players.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with players though too is, like, if you're a 16, 17, 18-year-old player, you also have kids 5 or 6 years younger than you that are watching you. So then all of a sudden you see a trickle down. You see the big man with the crossover and finish, but you see the trickle down where a 14-year-old says, "Oh, okay, I can do that too," and it's like, okay, this has to be nipped in the bud somewhere.
Everything snowballs 100%.
Yeah,
and that's part of the struggle. I think in our system here in Ontario and Canada, you see it. I mean, it's evident. It's happening. It's not just, we're not speaking even theoretically. It's happening. It's vastly apparent that this is it's a trend. There are issues, and especially when it comes to officiating, and even when you have coaches speaking out on it, if you have different influencers speaking out publicly, then it also makes it hard for the officials to maintain credibility. Right?
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, exactly.
So these outlets, these different platforms like social media, and even if you look at college and the NBA, and you have coaches who are getting fined but they're speaking out.
Yeah.
As it's the frustration is, you have to find a balance.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think when it comes down to it, the coaches should be the ones having the conversations. But as a player, you know what you can do is you can turn your frustrations into a conversation. Maybe if you talk to the official and learn what they're thinking and what they're seeing, you can then change your game to not get called for those fouls. And I mean, I've seen very few players do that, but the ones that do find much success. And we're sitting here talking about fouls, and we see our big man for B.E.S.T Prep, Anthony Bradshaw, who's going to be that matchup for Casey Zagu. He's on the bench now with 3 fouls. And again, he's kind of questioning it, but you know what your matchup's going to be this day. It's going to be physical. Got to be smart on where you pick up those fouls. And there's another, the man who comes in for him, Victor Yoryor, picks up a foul quickly, and all of a sudden Greg Robitaille is sitting there on the sideline saying, well, what do I do? I got my 2 big men with 3 fouls, I believe, right now.
I believe that's correct. He's pacing around. He's searching. He's looking for answers. But you have to expect that.
Yes.
If you're coming into this game, part of your preparation is saying, okay, listen,
when
we
this
understand
happens,
exactly.
what do I do?
and it's he's a physical big body down low, and they're gonna throw it down there. How are you gonna cope with foul trouble? How are you gonna defend him? How are you gonna try and contain him? I mean, that's part of your preparation.
GTA Prep. Simmons goes behind the back. Sorry, Cameron Harris. BB. Oh, you're going to get it back to Nelson. I think he had thoughts of pulling up. Instead, fires a nice pass into the lane, cut off. Pass out of bounds, didn't hit a hand.
I think Nelson might have been better off pulling up in that scenario.
Yeah. Timeout on the floor. Take a quick break. We'll be back.
I'm Denzel Cummings. I'm mic'd up for Northwood Hoops. I'm mic'd up, so. Nice guy, I'm mic'd up.
Start in Virginia with pin downs. Let's start it on Jakucha's side, and let's get the ball swung. We're not gonna. Let's not be predictable.
One game. We got one game. Let's go. All
All straight up.
Fan, you have to over. Got 6, 1, 2, 3. Charge, yeah. Good job, boy. Good boy.
Shocking. Shocking. If they missed him.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you're playing man.
Oh, my fault.
Next time you see Josh, you tell him one more.
Okay. Listen, when you're running flex, keep on coming, because that's what I was looking
We're
for.
running that again. You were wide open.
So, hey, 13's got in core. Power.
Now we've gone small.
Yeah.
We've gone small. So now we're looking to pump fake and see if we can drive it if we don't get open shots. So we're in power right now.
Hey, in power. Charge! Oh! Good, hey, it's a good. You good? Good job. I want you up.
Where's it for you?
22.
Yeah, that's what I call.
Yeah, but you got to tell Bonehead to find his best shooter. In the corner, he was wide open.
Oh! Ain't no more playing around. I ain't playing around no more. Eight seconds! Yes! Arby, come here! That's you! That's what I mean! Good job! Read it. You have to read it. It's not a play, it's a read.
We're back live. 3.5 or 3:40 into the second quarter of game 2 of 7 today. BB using that size. Can't finish. Matt Green.
And B.E.A.S.T having to play through some foul trouble here in the first half. Their bigs obviously going to have their hands full with Casey Azagu, and they're going to have to try and manage it as best as possible. With still a long way to go in this basketball game. That's where you want him to get it.
Yep.
Right there. In that situation there, however, you're catching it down low, you get in on the block, drop step either towards the baseline, towards the middle of the floor, make a strong move. I didn't like the shot selection. I really didn't. I mean, you're not using your 6'10" frame to your advantage. And yet, he's such a force, such a menacing presence that he is able to generate an offensive foul, a turnover.
Matt Green, the nice drop off there, but ran into the big man, Casey Azagu, who drew the charge.
And this guy's going to be a handful. He's going to be something special at the next level. As long as he surrounds himself with the right support system and puts himself in a position where he's going to get excellent coaching and the training that he needs. I mean, you can see it. He's oozing with potential. He's got it. The defensive end is not an issue whatsoever. Rebounding the basketball, blocking shots. We saw him just right now take a charge and be in a good defensive position. It's on this end of the floor where he's gonna have to evolve. He's gonna have to undergo some growth and maturation. But you know, it's very, very encouraging, and there's a lot of upside there.
Officials getting together. I think they're making sure that our personal fouls are correct, because B.E.A.S.T is just racking them up. They were in the bonus 3 minutes into the game. They're back into the bonus 4.5 into the second. And I think right now they're just trying to figure out
So Zagu's going to get a couple of free throws here. Now, if he can get to the line with relative ease, you know, part of the advantage of being 6'10", having that frame, if you use it accordingly, you're going to get a lot of opportunities at the free throw line, and you want to convert as many of those as possible, especially with 5:15 left in this half, and already once again GTA in the bonus.
Pull up jumpers cash.
Simple pick and roll action, and Zagu kind of clears out the primary ball hand, the defender who primary responsibility guarding the ball handler, and it creates space for an open jumper. Another mismatch. That's a great move. That's a great move, and that's what you want to see from the big fella. You want him to catch, no need for a dribble. Chest,
And
catch
out.
it,
Yep.
chest it, put it above your head, make a move, finish at the rim.
Yeah, you got to call that a lane violation. Sorry, Casey, you're not that strong.
He works. He's got quite the motor on him. He's non-stop, always locked in 100%. And one other thing, even noticing, talking about some of the intangibles, his communication skills. I mean, he's always constantly talking. He does the little things. I think that also makes an impact for his team.
Didn't know what to do when he got there, Matt Green, but got it working. Back in transition, Zagu trying to do the chase down.
Oh my goodness. Talk about a guy getting up. He touched the top of the square on the backboard. He's trying to tee him up for a little bit of showtime with what would have been, of course, an emphatic denial.
Trying to figure out what this call is right now. Did they call him for a foul on the body?
Mm-hmm. Something maybe off the ball after the missed layup attempt, and B.E.A.S.T has it now along the end line.
Telegraph that pass a little bit. Mo Allen, who with all the positives that he had yesterday in his game, has been rather silent today. It may just be purely a matchup thing, giving up some size.
Oh my.
Casey is feasting. Feasting here in the first half. He hasn't been able to help GTA Prep pull away. I mean, B.E.A.S.T, considering all the foul trouble, is still hanging.
The last few possessions for B.E.A.S.T have been rather stagnant offensively. They haven't generated a lot of movement. Even when they scored a couple of possessions ago, it was more of an isolated setting and more of a fortuitous bounce. But you want to see them run a set, get into something. Good take.
I mean, good defense, good finish. I like the 2 hands up. No fouls. It's good. The thing I have seen with Casey is he doesn't take needless fouls. And you know what kind of combo is that? You can just run off that wall of a man and just pull up, especially when AJ can pull up 5 feet beyond.
Donald Trump wants to build a wall. He might have one in Casey Zagu if he wants.
I'm going to request that is the final Donald Trump reference of this entire day. Got a lot of games. I know.
Who's going to pay for the wall? No, but I mean, AJ Lawson, you see where he pulled that from. I mean, that's almost NBA territory.
Yeah.
He's got that in his arsenal already at this age. He's still going to fill out. He's not, you know, he's checking in at 6'6", but I mean, you know, you'd look at it, he's still gonna grow into his body, and that'll make him stronger, and his ability to attack and play defense, that'll make him a much more well-rounded player.
Once again, good D, better O. Tyrese Todd finishing over top of the outstretched arms. A.J. Lawson. Just not getting the rolls. The English hasn't been right for A.J., not liking these rims at Crestwood.
No, they haven't been too friendly for him here over the first couple of days. But again, getting where he wants, whenever he wants.
Nice finish in transition. DeAndre Pierre, a name that I have not said really through 2 games, and you know, I have him down as kind of the forgotten, you know, offensive threat for this GTA prep squad.
And they're going to need him. They're going to need him to step up. They're going to need him to deliver some big minutes and to be another scoring option, another weapon for this team. Last year he was, I think, really an unsung hero in many ways, and really excelled.
Well, it was him and AJ last year, right? I mean, there was no one else on the squad.
And they both had terrific seasons, of course.
But I remember calling a few games last year where it was just both of them standing outside the three-point line, just waiting to get the ball to chuck because they were down double digits and just needed to shoot. And it's nice to see the growth of this GTA prep squad under a very high caliber head coach and David Cooper over there.
I think what you see from B.E.A.S.T, you're gonna see similar growth. You're gonna maybe see similar growth because the skill players that they have on their roster, it might be conducive to a similar type of developmental process, if you will, and just being a little more meticulous and a little more intuitive and just patient. You know, patience is key. You develop that over time.
There's a role for GTA prep. Also, like the non-calls we're seeing on the other end, Casey Zagu really seems to be trying to draw as many charges as possible, and he did get one earlier, which was a good call, but there, you know, as long as the player is trying to avoid him, you know, you see a guy that size fall to the ground, that's going to be a clear path.
That's what I was just about to say. It has to be clear path. Nobody near him, no defender in front of the play.
Just checking out the sidelines, the reactions from Greg Robitaille. I think that one was more of a like, oh, come on, can I catch a break at this point? I mean, you can't argue the call, and I don't think he is. I think he's just kind of...
He's like, come on, give me something.
Yeah, he's laughing at his luck right now. Again, considering the foul trouble, I mean, his team is still within striking distance here. This would be probably the biggest win for B.E.A.S.T this season if they were to be able to pull this one out.
You emerge from this half trailing by single digits, considering the foul trouble that you've been plagued by in this half.
But what do you say? What do you say to your big man then going into the second half, right? Like, I mean, you like Bradshaw, we've barely seen. He's mic'd up. This is gonna be the shortest mic'd up segment in the history of NPA.
I mean, you know, the thing you got, maybe you're doing different things. Maybe you're double teaming on the catch. Maybe you're trying to make him more of a passer and keep the ball out of his hands. And you want him, if anything, you want to deny and apply pressure off the ball. Don't allow him to catch it. Right? Don't give him that option. And you live with certain results. And you pick your poison. If you say, okay, we're going to continue to be physical, be prepared to be in the penalty, or let's kind of, you know, pick our poison and see if we can, you know, have other guys make plays.
A.J. Lawson. the fans with the obvious words behind us. He's going to shoot it, but no, he's not. He's going to pass it off to the young buck, and then it's Izagu trying to finish. 7-point lead for GTA Prep. Oh, foul called on Izagu.
I think that was a good call there.
Yeah,
it could have been a non-call.
Yeah.
It was borderline, but the official saw enough contact there. The only question would be, did it occur after the final buzzer? That would be the only discrepancy, but.
Well, this is going to finish out our first half. Just a matter of it's going to be a 8-point lead for GTA Prep. Stay with us after a short break. We'll be back.
Ro Russell is best known as one of the founding fathers of the Canadian AAU scene. Now he is building something new, a boys and girls basketball program at Crestwood Preparatory College, a private school that can provide resources to both their coach and their players.
It's a great job. We have great resources, great support systems, and it's very, it's structured. I can be here and do my thing for the next 10, 20 years and just, keep on doing what we're doing and keep being successful. So it's a great place for longevity.
We're not looking at being, the top dog for a year or two. We're looking at longevity. So we want this to be a program that we can look back on. It's been going for 20 years, 30 years. We know that these kids are looking to go to top level post-secondary schooling, and we don't want anyone going there unprepared. Crestwood is an academic institution, and we've always been an academic institution for 40 years. So we're going to give these kids through basketball a way to come to a high-end private school.
The first time I visited here, they're like, okay, this is no joke, and not just coming here to play basketball and then leave. You're gonna get a good education, we're gonna stay on top of you. You just have to learn how to manage your time well. When you're on the court, you're just focused on what you're doing there, and then when the game's done, you go home, do your homework. You just focus on everything you do. I think it's special. You're setting the foundation for many years to come. Like our young guys, like Elijah Fisher, they'll look up to us, and we'll see where they end up.
Crestwood is a great school because 99.9% of kids graduate to go off to university, and they have high academics. It teaches me more how to be more of a gentleman, be more respectful.
We want guys to be academically at a level that they can go in and it's not a shock to them. We want them to be used to the university type level of standards. It's about building a well-rounded person from academics, character, and athletics.
The school's past history with international students has allowed players from other countries to help jumpstart the basketball program, including Franco Miller of the Bahamas.
No, I never thought that I would ever be up in Canada playing basketball. At home, there's not as much opportunities as there are here. So the best thing to do if you want to further your education and you want to let your sport take you wherever it takes you is to get out and get as much opportunity as you can. This is definitely preparing me for the next level because it's a high-level basketball training and high-level standard in the classroom, so it gives you best of both worlds.
I'm from New York, and I went to school in Springfield Gardens. It's in Queens, New York. All the teachers know my name. Even if I don't have them, they all know my name. If I went to a school, it would be a month in, and some of them still wouldn't know my name. I'm developing more in my game and in school. Coach Ro has a great program where we're more of a brotherhood than the team.
Yeah, it brings a big smile to my face to see that things have changed and it's all flipped around to where Americans are coming here. We're offering a great product here now where you get the academics, you get exposure, the opportunity, and with the NPA really growing, the competition is really good now. So all those things are here for them. So it's very, very difficult for them not to succeed.
Okay, hold on. He's mic'd up. You don't say anything.
No, don't do the Steven one. Don't do the Steven one. Don't do that. I actually talk.
You don't talk.
Yes, I do.
You're gonna fake talk.
Yesterday I was talking the whole game. My name's Raheem Saad and I'm lighting up for North Pole Hoops. Check it, man. Oh, get him! Get him! Hey!
Watch it, bro.
Is that a compression sleeve?
Pardon me?
Can I lift the short? So it's a legging, right?
Yeah.
It has to be above the knee. It's supposed to be inside the shorts too. Above the knee. Not above the knee, they come off. They're tight. Above the knee.
You can't play like this. Shout out MPH, cameraman right there, you see me. Hey, get this jelly, get this jelly, get this jelly! Jelly! Do your dance, do your dance, do your dance. Hey, you ugly. Do your daddy, son, yeah. Let's go, boy. That's a dime. That's a dime. That's a dime. Oh, get in there, boy. Get in there, boy. Michigan, Michigan, Michigan. Woo.
Hey, rebound.
Oh, that's out. That's out. All right, good call, ref. Dime. Dime. Let's go, boy. Hey, man, get the ball, get the rebound and run. Now I'm coming in, I'm going in. That's a hit, boy. LA.
Easing up on this end. What he's doing? Better, yeah?
You have 30? Hey! Matt was there, though. Matt was there. No way, Matt, I got you. Oh, yeah, that's a dime. Oh, yeah, boy! Give me that. Hey, man, shout out Saga, East and West. Hey, no. These are red bottoms. These are blood shoes.
Let's go, beat him up on 3.
1, 2, 3, beat him up. Shot. Oh my God, I won, man. Oh, give me that. Hey! Good work. You should have. Yes, you can't be saying that. Better keep it rated R. Rated for everyone.
Speak English, bro. Speak English, bro.
Spin cycle! Get him, Craig!
I was in your back. Yo, Craig, this is the microphone.
The mic, bro.
You guys are a robot.
We're back live. GTA Prep with an 8-point lead. It's going to be an interesting second half to see how it all shakes out here.
We'll see if A.J. Lawson can catch fire, hit a couple threes in the first half, and see if he can switch to another gear here in the second. Oh, nice pass.
The skill set is there for many of these B.E.A.S.T Prep players.
High screen and roll. Oh, that's good ball movement. Beautiful. Beautiful look underneath. The delivery by A.J. Lawson, and Casey Azagu finishing with the flush.
And I wonder if maybe Coach Cooper said that, said, hey, A.J., like, I know your shot's not falling in this gym so far. Casey is eaten today, so let's make you facilitate. And I mean, as that continues, you're going to find A.J. Lawson then.
Here it is.
And that's what I'm curious about. And you know, obviously, as we said, we don't have the skill set that A.J. Lawson has, but I just wonder what the mentality is. Like, does he know how he's going to finish before he takes off? Is it in that situation where he's in the air and then decides? It looks like he can dunk everything.
I mean, not many guys get off the ground the way he does. He's explosive. And he's elusive. That's another thing. Like, you just watch him, the way he glides, and he can finesse his way around defenders. It's very rare. But I think it's something that he's going to have to harness as he gets older, because that ability is obviously very transcendent, and there's a lot of skills there.
There's another player who, when he gets it going, he can get you in a lot of ways, Tyrese Todd.
I mean, he just took 3 dribbles and got to the opposing 3-point line. Not many guys can do that and get you into your offense that quickly. Right there.
Yeah, no, we were saying, what are they going to do with the size? Well, B.E.A.S.T has gone small.
Nice finish.
My boy Moriarty prospering at the rim. Nice finish on the other side. And A.J. Lawson spinning and finishing.
Ooh, and
yeah, you know, this is another aspect to the game I find so interesting is, you know, Coach Cooper has asked A.J. Lawson to be more vocal, more aggressive. You know, he knows that at that next level and possibly a level after that, what they want to see. So he's asked for more of that, but as a result, we've seen AJ get a couple of techs, that sort of thing. And here he is getting onto the ground. But this is why Coach Cooper wants to see this. Because, for an example, like a play like that, because he's getting into it with Dylan Nelson, he's going after that loose ball and he's battling because he wants to outwork this guy.
And I think to the naked eye, there are some occasions as a, you know, just maybe as a passive observer, you look at a guy like A.J. Lawson and you think, okay, here's, and good call by the official Azagu with the hook, and that was pretty clear. But with A.J. Lawson, sometimes you know, kind of, you want more in terms of his you know, just his demeanor and being a little more animated, being a little more engaged. And so I mean, I have no problem with him getting in there and maybe talking some junk from time to time, because you want to see that, and sometimes you have guys who do too much of that, and then you know, A.J. Lawson's the polar opposite. He's a team first guy. He's a great teammate. He's a very humble guy. Tends to be rather quiet sometimes, and you know, soft spoken, but
I wonder if that's like the Wiggins effect, right?
Yes.
Where it followed him everywhere. After he had, you know, a huge couple of stretches in the NBA, it went away. And now all of a sudden, when he has a couple of alpha dogs on that squad with him down in Minnesota, all of a sudden it's coming back into the spotlight about Andrew Wiggins. Does he have that fire? You know, of course, it's a lot easier when, you know, you get paid $20 million a year. Everybody's going to say, oh, well, now he's not hungry, right?
But that's the key point. I think the knock on Canadian players has always been, where's the dog in them?
Well, you know what? What I've found is that that's a more recent thing, because
well, I think it's more recent now that there have been guys who have made it to the top level and have garnered a lot of attention.
But you see, like Corey Joseph, Tristan Thompson, the reason why everybody loved them at the collegiate level and then in the NBA level is that they were dogs. And it was funny because when I was first covering those guys back in 2008, the mentality was, and I heard it so many times, is like people say, like you were saying, where is the dog in them? And then Corey and Tristan come along and they change that mentality altogether, so much so that Tristan Thompson makes an absolute career off of being a playoff double-double guy.
Just rebound the ball and be gritty.
So now it changes. Now all of a sudden, if you're Canadian, you're a grinder, and then Andrew Wiggins comes along and then people say he's too passive.
The first and only NPA championship banner currently hangs in our nation's capital.
Big guy that we're going to have to talk about, and people are obviously he's already garnered a lot of attention, and he's going to be attending Duke University next year, is R.J. Barrett.
Well, there's two guys, and they're both dogs. R.J. Barrett, and on the way to Vanderbilt as well.
We're talking about Simi?
Yes. Like an absolute monster right now.
There's been a lot of skepticism surrounding some of that. I mean, I think RJ's his own. RJ's special. RJ to me is hands down a future NBAer. He's a guy who has the potential to be the #1 overall pick in the NBA draft, a one and done kind of guy.
Yeah.
You know, I look at. And, I think maybe selfishly, but even if you look at that Montvert team, another guy who I think has a little bit of dog in him and has grown significantly is an Andrew Nemhard.
Absolutely.
Who, and I've known him for a number of years, and he was always a very quiet kid, always a more reserved kid, very polite. But on the basketball court, an A-type personality, an absolute alpha male, a dog who gets after it. I think there's room for that. And at the same, and I think you need to play. Every kid in this gym should play with a chip on their shoulder.
Well, yeah,
because they should realize that inherently we're at a disadvantage compared to our American counterparts.
Yeah.
They are, regardless of how talented you are.
Yeah.
You're inherently at a disadvantage because the expectation is for you to, oh my! But the expectation is for you, as a player of A.J. Lawson's caliber, the expectation is for him to have gone to the States by now. That's an expectation, and the fact that he hasn't, or the fact that guys similar to his skill set who have potential and are receiving significant interest at NCAA Division I level, that guys like that, you know, there's pressure for them to go.
Yeah.
Right? And that's part of the culture. And until there's a guy who breaks from the mold and says no, then I think we often get grouped with, it's not Canada and the United States in terms of two different separate basketball entities. It's North American basketball.
Well, which really is the difference in talking to like the BC Christian international players, for example. That's the way they're saying it, right? It's North American basketball, and that's the style that we're at, and that's what the NPA is helping to build, and we're showing people the style that they play with. Bradshaw back in the game.
Great block.
This is the matchup I've been looking to see since the beginning, and that was miscommunication. A.J. Lawson was calling for that alley-oop from about mid-court, but just didn't make the eye contact in transition with Nyan Simmons.
And to go back on the point we were discussing with having the killer instinct, if you will, one of the things that it's so hard. It's so hard to convince people that Canadian basketball is blossoming and burgeoning and is in a great place, because when you're top dogs, when you're number one guy, when you look at the Canada basketball, that program, when you're number one guy, and right now it's R.J. Barrett, when his father is at the helm of the senior national team and his own son leaves the country, it's hard to convince people that, yes, we're moving in the right direction. It's hard to make that argument.
And the only way that's going to change is exactly what you're seeing here. Is you need to have programs that will keep the players here, right? I think we're getting to the point where we're having the competition. We're getting to the point now where we have the exposure thanks to the NPA and NPH.
Absolutely.
But it's the programs themselves. Like, we're talking about them, and now I'm exploring them on these features that I'm doing, and I'm starting to see where those opportunities are. But maybe the academics will be there, but is the basketball there? And then maybe the basketball is there, but is the academics there? And we're getting to the point where those are starting to happen, but now you need to have the history to back that up. And Montverde, like, no one in Canada can provide what Montverde can, right?
100%.
I mean, you look at, I can't believe I'm blanking on his name. Out of Ottawa, spent 4 years in Ottawa, won a gold medal with U19, had him on the broadcast in Ottawa.
Was it Abu?
No.
We're missing Noah Kirkwood?
Noah Kirkwood, thank God. Sorry, I'm trying to remember 13 teams worth of players here. Sorry, Noah, I know. Much respect and consider you a friend.
And the reason it came to me, I was watching something pertaining to him this morning. So shout out to Noah Kirkwood.
Love Noah Kirkwood. Yeah, perfect example. I mean, he spent 4 years in Ottawa, and he has that last year. I mean, he had the opportunity. He could have stayed somewhere here in Canada, but who here was going to provide him with what he was going to get, you know, at a private school down in the U.S., and that's a perfect example. So it will change, and I know what you're saying, but I mean, you know, Montverde is special in every aspect. You got a coach.
Oh, no, there's no doubt.
Coach Boyle is going to be able to provide stuff. You know what I mean? Academically, you know, R.J. Barrett was in China playing top high schools in China.
Yeah,
who else can provide that? But eventually it will happen here.
No, there's no doubt about it. And right now, at this very moment, there are, I think, even if we want to just point out 2 or 3 major challenges, although there's a confluence of different factors that add up to the divide between the Canadian prep system, the American prep system, but the ability to room and board players is a huge factor, and that's part of the ability to attract and recruit talent. Second, piggybacking off of that, the ability to attract and recruit talent, the top guys, right? What's your sales pitch? What's your sales pitch? What's different? And 3, the resources, the sponsorship dollars.
Yeah.
Those factors all influence the ability for some of these programs that are homegrown, that are trying to ingratiate themselves into that community. It's very difficult for a lot of those reasons.
Well, it's quickly becoming apparent that Daniele and I could talk about prep school and high school basketball for hours on end, but we also have a game going on here, and it's Casey Izagu, who's continuing to get mouses in the houses. He's had a mismatch multiple times down the floor, but B.E.A.S.T Prep has done a good job of cutting off a lot of those entry passes, which has allowed this lead to kind of stay around the 9-11 mark. But at the other end of things, B.E.A.S.T's offense has just been non-existent in the second half. And I mean, Anthony Bradshaw has shown me some great things in the short span I've seen him in the NPA, but I'm not a fan of this Anthony Bradshaw point guard.
No,
I don't know what's happening over here. I've been trying to keep silent on it while we're chatting, but like, what's he doing out here right now?
No, I have no idea as to why you're floating on the perimeter. And I was just about to actually applaud his effort on the defensive end of the floor. It's been a solid 6-minute stretch here where, being in foul trouble, and he makes a great defensive play there.
He's playing clean defensively.
Absolutely, and you need that, especially if you're going to get deep into this game where you're going to give yourself a chance to make a run and get back in it. But you don't need him floating around the perimeter.
Now, obviously, the easy answer is, he's trying to pull Casey Izagu away from the rim, but I don't see that really happening. And the fact that, GTA Prep has enough length defensively that, pulling him out isn't really helping, because if you look at the rest of the B.E.A.S.T on the floor, they're pretty small right now.
Yeah, you're right, Jason. I think that's the intent. I would think that's what they're trying to do with Anthony Bradshaw right now, and Greg Robitaille, I think, making that adjustment, with the aim of, like you said, pulling him outside of the paint. But I think you're playing 4-on-5, really.
No, absolutely, yeah, that's what I think, exactly. And you're taking away
a weapon.
Your only weapon down low. I mean, we've seen this B.E.A.S.T offense pretty much focused on, is it Victor Yor down low, or is it Anthony Bradshaw down low? And then, you got your shooters out there. Obviously, Dylan Nelson was red hot earlier, has cooled off, and obviously Matt Green. But, outside of that, I don't know where else you're getting your offense from. And, again, having said all that, B.E.A.S.T Prep still hanging down just 7 against one of the top 3 teams probably in this NPA.
Well, if there's any time they're going to make a run, it's got to be now. A.J. Lawson off the floor, and now your biggest threat that you have to contend with defensively is Casey Izagu. Big shot.
There you go. There's Matt Green.
Good rotation, finding the open man, and Matt Green making him pay from deep.
Time answer right there. Scotty Austin, Scotty does. Tristan Lindo just got busted.
Well, the handle's on full display right there.
Lindo's having a laugh because he looked down at the floor and was like, "No, there's
the wet spot.
Yeah. there's not a. But we're not playing outside. There's not a crack in the concrete there." But Lindo's a gamer.
The one thing I would do offensively if I was Greg Robitaille right now, just because you want to, if anything, you want to put the opposing team's best players, and in this case it's Lawson, who's on the bench right now, and Casey Izagu. You want to maybe put them in some precarious positions and see if they're going to put themselves in harm's way, put themselves in a position where they're going to be vulnerable defensively. So why not operate in some pick and roll action right now? Why not try to maybe see, hey, can this big fella really hedge over and defend the pick and roll? Because you might open up opportunities to get the basket, find shooters. I know he's pretty much a decoy at this point, right? He's out there, he's not touching the ball on the offensive end of the floor.
used to say that the third quarter of basketball was the most useless quarter of basketball. And it's obviously different for every game, but in support of that, I think, again, Greg Robitaille is saying, if I can survive this third quarter within single digits without my guys, you know, being fouled out at this point, I think that was a lane violation on Casey Zagu right there that went on call. But anyways, you know, it's one of those, you try to hold it. But having said that, going back to saying it's the most worthless quarter of basketball, a lot of games can be decided in that third quarter. If you have like a 9-point lead at the half and you push that up to 20, the game's over.
There's the old saying too. I mean, you can't win a game in the first quarter, the second quarter, the third quarter, but you can certainly lose it.
Yeah, very good point. Yep.
And that's important to note. And now they've made it 3 quarters, more than 3 quarters through to this quarter. They have Yor in the game now. Yep. They've survived one long stretch here where Anthony Bradshaw did a fantastic job defensively.
Agreed.
Now we'll see what happens here in the final two minutes of this quarter, and you hopefully carry that momentum into the fourth on the defensive end of the floor.
They need to get some offense going, and that's not going to do it. I mean, I really love that, and we talked about this yesterday, there hasn't been many bailout calls.
No,
you know, the recklessly driving into the lane because you see the opponents there, and the refs aren't bailing them out, and I really like that, really appreciate that.
You're not getting rewarded for going into 2-3 defenders, and nor should you.
But here's a conversation. This is the type of conversation I like. It wasn't demonstrative. Moriarty just went over and said to the official, I think I got fouled. The official brought him in, said, what was that? Okay, yeah, all right. And I'm sure he just said to him, all right, I'll watch it for next time.
Yeah, nothing egregious.
No,
that's the point.
Have the conversation.
Exactly. Yeah.
Ooh, off balance. It don't matter.
That's what I've been waiting to see. Guess who was the defender who had to come up and help on that? It was Casey Zagu. You put him in a precarious position. He was uncomfortable. He's not sitting inside the paint where that's his territory. Pull him out. That little bit of wiggle room, bang, in his eye.
Yep. A.J. Lawson hit the floor hard there. Victor Yor made him feel the lumber there.
Bradshaw coming back in. It's 140. And the foul, I believe, was on Yor. Maybe that's part of the reason there.
Yeah, I mean, if there's one thing that I've seen, and I've spoken at length about, you know, the high level of coaching we have in the NPA, and you know they all have their different styles, but I've loved what I've seen, and I don't know much about head coach Greg Robitaille as of yet, but I really like what I've seen with him thinking his way through this game with that foul trouble, and he's done a very, very good job.
And there we go again. Now they got into some pick and roll action and a good defensive rotation. Good defensive rotation that time from GTA, and now they're running the break.
Yeah, that's going to be travel?
Wow.
Travel call, yep. No, I saw all ball on that, so I don't know what the argument was.
Good call by the official.
Yeah.
Good call.
Javon Davis. Yep. Shuffled the feet.
Just a wasteful possession. Just a turnover that's unnecessary.
Yeah, Javon Davis gets in his own head a little bit. He was upset with some fouls earlier in the game. Saw him pushing off a little bit later, and then right there, when he got the ball, he was so excited to get it going to kind of get a little bit of revenge and shuffle the feet.
Speaking of a wasted possession, he comes up the floor and hoists the shot. I mean, you know, AJ has that range. Don't get me wrong.
Yep. But is that when you want to take it?
But situational basketball. Yeah. Less than a minute left in the quarter. B.E.A.S.T making a bit of a push. Get a quality shot.
Yep.
Don't just settle. Don't just settle for the first opportunity that you see. And a little bit of a selfish play there that time, coming up the floor and hoisting.
Well, B.E.A.S.T comes up, does exactly what they would want to do. You know, Javon Davis, as I mentioned, wanted to get something done. He did just that. Gets to the line, stops the clock.
It's a 2-possession game, and here we go again. A.J. Lawson this time finishing.
I think that what we fall into with A.J. Lawson is he makes it so easy when he does get the baskets that you like expect it all the time. And I also just want to point out that Prosper Moriarty just got that foul call after having that polite conversation.
One thing I've really admired about him, you just see he brings a different level of intensity to the floor.
Is that Prosper?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
A little bit of a chippiness. Like he's playing with some real resolve and tenacity, and even as simple as drawing a foul there, eliciting some sort of reaction from your teammates, and really just generating some positive momentum in terms of it's all about energy. Right, the ball finds energy, and A.J. Lawson certainly has a lot of energy.
A.J. Lawson is a ball of energy.
And we see collegiately and even at the pro level, I think a lot of coaches, a lot of teams catch flack for, you know, this ISO era that we're in. But going back to, you know, my point about the ball finding energy, I mean, that ball, it's a beautiful thing when the ball hunts.
Yeah.
When passing and moving it and finding open opportunities and playing collectively, there's no substitute, and that makes a big difference.
7-second difference, game clock, shot clock. Nice move. Dishing it down low. Time is running. Lawson tried to draw a foul. 9-point lead, 67-58 through 3. Stay tuned. Got a good fourth quarter coming up.
The Top Flight Academy. But it didn't come easy for Ottawa's only boys prep basketball program, who lost the first 5 games in the program's history before a team meeting put them on the path to making Canadian basketball history.
It was a pretty rocky start for us, you know, coming into our first year as a team and as a program. You know, we started off losing 5 games in a row. It was tough, you know, everybody wasn't in the greatest mindset.
That's the meeting that just changed everything. We were straight up with each other. We were all honest, and then we got better as a team. The chemistry got better, and then we started winning games, and we became confident.
Ended up winning 13 in a row, and then it was just a great finish to have come out on top as the first ever national champions.
As a founder, as someone who just started this, you know, prep school, you have a vision, and to see it come to fruition sort of in the first year, it was one of the biggest thrills in my life. Being an Ottawa guy, you know, so proud at every level. The Ravens and the Ottawa UGGs, obviously the club system with Ottawa Elite. Now you add ourselves in the mix with the prep schools. We're seeing again a lot of the hard work, you know, pay off.
Like any championship-level team, CTA is now working even harder to stay atop the National Preparatory Association, while continuing to give Ottawa area basketball players a chance to stay at home and rep a city that never seems to get the respect it deserves in basketball circles.
Thought was always in the back of my mind about, you know, getting to grade 11, 12 was, you know, am I going to have to go away? And I think Ottawa basketball has just been continuing.
Yesterday?
Yep.
And we're back live. Big time shot. You know, not a lot of guys are putting up big numbers for GTA Prep in this game, but they've had guys who've hit big shots when they need them, and Dondre Reddick did just that to push us to double digits.
Good execution coming out of the quarter break. And it extends the lead to double figures. Here we go again. Now you're running a transition.
A.J. Lawson thrives in the open floor, and he's liking these rims at Crestwood as long as he's taking a bite out of them.
They haven't been very kind, so it's about time he gets some reciprocation. He's gonna get some love this time around.
Ooh. Stumbling and bumbling through the lane, but picked up the foul call.
Now this is more of an A.J. Lawson performance. This is what we've come to expect, and I think you know, with nine minutes left in this game, leading by 14, he's been the catalyst for them, especially offensively, and his shot hasn't necessarily been falling as proficiently as we've come to expect, but he's still found other ways to impact the game. That's what good players do.
Tough move, call for the foul. I'll tell you too, I've seen Dylan Nelson is trying to get under the skin of both Dondre Reddick and DeAndre Pierre, and I have to give it up to both Reddick and Pierre for staying calm, because I mean, when you're leading 13, the last thing you want to do is to try to allow a guy to get under your skin. They've shown a lot of maturity, which again I think comes from their head coach, David Cooper. After watching him last year, struggle through a tough season, I saw him at tough times, and I've also seen him mature as a coach. He just welcomed his second child into the world as well, and so far this season, I've seen a very calm demeanor about him, and I think a lot of that has to do with, a lot of the focus he has with some high-level talent, like A.J. Lawson and Casey Zagu, and his focus, on them, but, he's also focused. He never shows up his players. He will talk to them on the bench, but it's actually very rare that he'll sit them down and like eye to eye yell at them. He does this interesting thing where he's talking to them, but he's not looking at them to avoid any confrontation. Which again, at this age level in this generation, you have to be able to meet them on a level, especially in the heat of the game, where you can talk to them and they'll listen. We're going to take a short break. We'll be right back. 14-point lead, GTA Prep. Franco Miller with the spike. Oh no, Franco Miller.
They're barking. They're starting to bark.
Yeah. On time, on target delivery, piping hot. Shiny dime. Franco Miller. Live, GTA Prep throwing some pressure on. It's beaten by the point forward that is Anthony Bradshaw.
Just trying to do a little too much there.
Yeah, it's a recent evolution in the game of Anthony Bradshaw. I think, he's very good from the free throw line in with a couple of dribbles and a move. Like, he has very good feet. I just don't think I need to see him dribbling from the three-point line in, per se. Got it to go there.
There seems to be a lot of guys, I think I've seen it quite a bit recently with a lot of these guys, similar physique, similar stature to an Anthony Bradshaw, and guys who are very proficient operating from the free throw line down. But you're seeing them now try to be a little more creative and crafty, and it's, at times it's not necessary, right? Yep. Just keep it simple. It tends to be most effective.
Look at the wholesale changes coming in for GTA Prep, lined up at the scorer's table.
We have a full platoon swap coming.
I'm curious about the mentality behind that. I mean, we're 2 minutes in. Maybe he's looking to give these guys all a breather to bring them back in the final minutes, considering it'd probably be a close game. This would be a big shot. And it's not even close.
No box out.
The Jose Calderon hand clap was very effective for Dylan Nelson there.
No box out.
Remember the Jose Calderon two-hand clap?
Yeah.
Because he could never close out on anybody properly, so he would do the two hands way over his head clap.
Hey, he had some good years. Yeah. Jose had some good years.
I love seeing him on the Cavs. If I can see Jose back in the finals, have a chance at a ring. One of the nicest individuals I've met in my years covering the NBA. was very interesting to talk to him about his new Spanish ham business when it started up about 10 years ago.
Nice move. It's a good move in the open floor. Ooh, a lot of contact there.
A lot of steps there, jeez. Hope he packed a bag for that one.
One too many steps there.
I was so impressed with our games yesterday, and I was equally impressed with the amount of passionate fans we had yesterday. And it's more of the same today. I mean, our first game was a little quiet at 9 a.m., but it's definitely picked up with this matchup. We're going to see more of the same coming. But if you have a chance to make it down here, we're on Brookbanks Avenue in North York, York Mills and DVP area. $10 a day, 30 for the remaining 3 days. High-level basketball. The community is strong here.
The Crestwood community has been very gracious to us, and they've been fantastic hosts for this session number 2 of the NPA season.
Easy finish for Cameron Harris on the other end as the lead's back up to 12. B.E.A.S.T Prep playing that tough game right now where they're going to need some threes to stay in this game, but you also don't want to just start chucking, because once you start missing, you know, GTA Prep has not had any problem scoring on the other end, so you can suddenly find yourself down 20 if it doesn't go right.
But you need to make sure you have a safety at all times. You want to make sure that your two, you know, and in this situation playing more, going 4 out, 1 in, you want your top 245 guys to be, as they are right now, retreating, getting back as safeties, because you want to avoid those fast break layups.
Well, Allen has not been able to finish much this morning. B.E.A.S.T going to get it back. I mean, they're being given the opportunities. GTA Prep is not slamming the door shut on this game.
Ooh. Looked like he might have dragged that pivot foot. And as on cue, there's a fast break layup.
Scotty Austin, timeout on the floor. B.E.A.S.T wants to talk it over. The lead's up to 14, 6:14 left. Stay with us. We'll be back on NorthPoleHoops.com.
From straight away, hit another three, his 6th of the first half.
I think the biggest thing about Kevin, highly skilled, but his values are very, very solid. Home-schooled value sort of thing. Of his grandparents taught him a lot. His uncle taught him a lot. Bill and Patty, his parents, obviously played a huge role, and he's very, very value-based. Everybody that you talk to that played with Kevin or coached Kevin will tell you exactly the same thing. Just a great kid, very, very grounded, never got full of himself, always works hard.
Let's keep it going. Keep the intensity high.
Get your feet square, get your feet square. Take it home, write it down, grab a homie, and work on it. Work on it, master it.
AJ Lawson, go! He gets it to go! Wow! Pick it up, Jalen.
Oh my God!
Top 10.
And we're back.
Yes, we're back.
6 minutes left in the fourth quarter. 14-point lead. Big time shot. Matt Green keeping his team within striking distance.
Matt Green, he's made some big strides. He really has. We saw him back in the summer at the NPH Showcase down in Toronto, and almost inconspicuously good, you know, as a shooter, as a playmaker, but, you know, does it quietly, in a quiet fashion, but certainly coming up big here today.
Nice ball movement, find the shooter, Dylan Nelson. It's the most off I've seen him over 2 days.
And if there's anybody who wants shooting the ball, if you're Beast, it's him. He's been lights out this week.
Happy Moalen dishing it off.
Oh,
BB.
Nice feed.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen an awful lot of him today, but what we have seen, I mean, he's in the right spots at the right times.
I really like his game.
Yeah.
I really do. I mean, he brings a different level of energy to the game. does things, and he's made an impact, and he's strong with the basketball. He's very decisive in what he's going to do.
Ooh,
nice.
There was an attempt at 2 chase down blocks there. Isiagu had the better chance than Moalen did. But Matt Green got it past both of them to get it back to single digits.
Good strong take.
It's winning time, and we got 2 teams that are ready to battle it out. B.E.A.S.T is not going to go away.
They're certainly not going away.
Oh, tough pass to cough up like that.
And now you got to communicate. You got to communicate here. This is where it's going. Get some bodies on him. He's not. We talked about it. The left hand. No. Certainly an area of Casey Ezagu's game that he's going to have to improve. The use and execution of his offhand. So if you're defending him, I'm inviting him to say, here, go left, please.
Yeah.
So you're cutting off one side, and you just say, okay, take the weak side, and let's see what happens.
Ooh, could have been a carry. Got away with it. Pull up.
Yeah.
Ooh. Hey, I mean,
caught fire.
Yeah, early on it was Dylan Nelson. Now it's Matt Green. Those two, I mean, you look at them, it's like there's a headband difference between the two. Those are 2 guys with similar games, similar looks. Jeez, these 2 could be twins. I just saw them running up the court beside each other. One's a little thicker than the other, but it's scary. It's a play-by-play man's nightmare right there. The good thing for the headband. Jeez. I like seeing this from Ezagu, though, having a little chat with the younger Halati.
He got away with a bit of a push off there. He's getting subbed off, and he's gonna get a little bit of a blow here, but might have got away with one on the opposite end of the floor. And B.E.A.S.T going with a bit of a different look defensively to help nullify that size advantage that GTA has with Casey Ezagu. He's out of the game now. See how GTA counteracts what's been going on here with this one. Was it a 1-3-1 or a 1-2-2 zone? So we'll see what happens. And you're trying to apply pressure in the corners on the 45. AJ Lawson doesn't get that to go, and here's Bradshaw outletting to get it up the floor. It's Nelson with it. Yep. Oh, the extra pass. How about the hustle? The hustle from Matt Green to find Bradshaw underneath.
2-point game. AJ Lawson with the ball. Oh, wow.
And how about, oh, wow. We got
this.
Ourselves a game.
Coach Cooper was shocked at that pass from AJ Lawson, and after getting over the fact that he almost got ran over, he just asked AJ right away, what are you doing? It's not a smart pass with the game hanging in the balance.
There are definitely some holes in AJ Lawson's game, and there's a need for some maturation, some maturity to go on, just in terms of shot selection, feel for the game.
And like I said at the beginning, it's these other pieces that are going to be the difference. And Dondre Reddick just came up with a big bucket there to push it back to 4. Pull up. Wow.
The bank is open. Might have not called bank, but you know what he called game. He's trying to get it going here.
Dylan Nelson, big time 3, cuts it to 1. Reddick got cut off. Lawson.
Just swarming the ball.
Big time shot, AJ Lawson.
Shot making ability.
Yep. But
nice
where
pass.
is the transition defense? And what a silly foul by Reddick. He's lucky that did not result in an and-1 that would have tied the game. He didn't even have a hand up on that. He just threw a body into it.
And that's what frustrates me about this GTA prep team, because you watch them and they have their moments. They're good in spurts. Just the consistency, the ability to put it together for a full 40-minute effort just hasn't been there thus far, and that's part of the learning curve that you're trying to overcome. for B.E.A.S.T. Talk about a resilient group, and yesterday morning in their first game of the week, getting blown out by Crestwood, come back, win yesterday night, and now here they are again, a tight affair against GTA Prep.
With all the fouls we see in the early going from B.E.A.S.T, they have cleaned it up.
They've been tremendous in the second half defensively. Yep. They've done a great job. Whatever was said at halftime, I mean, it must have resonated, must have translated, because they've been excellent on the defensive end of the floor.
Does this become the Greg Robitaille game? The head coach Greg Robitaille halftime.
Is this what we're going to become, accustomed to seeing? Is this what we can expect in terms of the chippiness, the attitude, they're playing with a different edge to them today.
Yeah.
And for a young team, for a program in its infancy, that's all you can ask for.
Wow, that would have been huge. Offensive rebound.
Great pass.
And nice passing, but the big man can't finish it off. A.J. Lawson with the ball in his hands, up 2, minute and a half to go. The new kid, Frizzell, to Lawson. Matt Green on him.
Right now, I'm pushing. See, that's too easy. Very fortunate there. You need more bodies floating to one side. More bodies on one side of the floor.
The two new kids for GTA Prep on the floor with the game hanging in the balance. Be interesting to see what this results in.
Good take.
Wow, Tyrese Virgo, a name we haven't said much at all. This game is tied at 82, 45 seconds to go.
It's this zone. This zone defense has really stymied the GTA offense. Oh.
Called for a block. Yeah, I think he was still moving.
Good call by the official. We got some excitement here on day 2 here in our second game.
Didn't take long. Did not take long.
And we talked about the foul trouble in the first half. The way you can negate that and avoid that, you play a bit of zone. You key in on him. Now, Casey Zagu, and you watch this 1-2-2 zone, 1-3-1 at times, but you see them, he's operating along the foul line, and he's not going to do much damage from there, because by the time he catches, turns and faces up, you've got a couple of defenders waiting for him, and he's not going to put it on the deck and get those foul calls as opposed to just operating under the basket.
Yep. Anthony Bradshaw. 30 seconds to go. Nelson, he wants to trigger it, but some great D.
Beautiful, beautiful. Oh.
Big rebound. Izagu, the league's leader in boards, comes up huge. They need a foul. Lawson. Smart move by AJ.
I don't know if that,
refs are going to get together here.
They're going to say it's unsportsmanlike foul?
He had no play on the ball there. I think that's a good call. And get ready for the. Yep. And you can tell because B.E.A.S.T Prep is not arguing it. Yeah.
Yeah, you can see Greg Robitaille. Yeah. He's a little frustrated by that. And not frustrated with the call.
Correct call.
Yeah,
no, yeah. Robitaille, Coach Robitaille is upset with the play made by his player. That was a correct call. The refs got together.
And that's a costly one because now it's the free throws and possession.
Yep.
So that's
that's huge. But I mean, we saw yesterday as well when GTA Prep was down 4, and I said, what are they going to draw up? And they had an opportunity
to tie the game.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm not counting B.E.A.S.T Prep out of this one.
I thought initially when A.J. Lawson decided to attack, I thought it was a curious decision because he's going into it, he's running the floor, and if you miss that, if you botch that, I mean, that's a fast break going the other way, an opportunity to tie or take the lead. It could have been costly rather than just simply trying to dribble out and alleviate some of the clock. So, I mean, very fortunate outcome for GTA to get the unsportsmanlike, now have possession. They're going to draw something up. And B.E.A.S.T needs a stop here. They need a big stop here. We'll see if GTA can draw something up to execute coming out of the timeout against a zone that has been very effective here in the second half. Or does B.E.A.S.T come out and maybe say, okay, we're going to go change it up and go to man and try to apply pressure and trap the ball, or because you're in a situation now, you need a steal, you're going to foul. Either way, it's been a valiant effort. A valiant effort by this B.E.A.S.T prep team tonight. This afternoon. It's been a valiant effort from them, and to overcome a double-digit deficit, cut it down to singles, to keep battling back.
Absolutely.
The resiliency that they've displayed, it hasn't gone unnoticed, and they deserve a lot of credit for that.
And I mean, as of right now, it looks like GTA Prep has an opportunity to win this game, but I think above everything, they've been able to fold in 2 brand new players into this squad, and this will be a great learning opportunity for all of them as well.
I think that's exactly what I would have done.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to foul, but they double team AJ Lawson on the inbound. You don't want him to touch it. You take your chances with somebody else.
Yep. And I mean, the way B.E.A.S.T Prep shoots from range, I mean, they can get a shot up quick and hit a 3 to either tie or make it back to a 1-possession game, depending how Reddick does the line here, but he's pure. And I think that was the mentality too. I think, Coop said, AJ, you're not going to get this ball most likely, so who's my best free throw shooter on the line, out on the floor? And Dondre Reddick is that guy, pushing the lead up to 5. Timeout for Greg Robitaille's squad. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back with the finale of this one.
Everyone has their story. What's yours? Were you born with the ball in your hands? Or were you a late bloomer? Are you a dead-eye shooter? Or a high flyer?
Throws up an alley-oop! All elbow! Williams!
Are you a leader? Or an elite role player? North Pole Hoops wants to know, what's your story?
Pangos will shoot another 3, his 3rd triple already.
I'm a retired teacher. I coached at a whole bunch of different levels throughout the player delivery system in Canada. Involved myself at the provincial level as head coach of Team Ontario from 1994 to 97. Coached at the university level, University of Guelph for 7 years. High school coach, and I'm now an author. And I'm an author of a book called Can't Miss, a story about Kevin Pangos. But the angle that I'm bringing about the book is that I'm a basketball coach who wrote a book. So the delivery of the book encapsulates everything that's Canada basketball is all about.
Bembry handling it, cross court to Pangos for 3, and Kevin knocks it down.
We're back. Haven't missed a thing. Oh, B.E.A.S.T needed it. They throw it up in the air. Ooh, had memories there of. I wonder if you have this in the memory bank. I don't know how old you are. Do you remember the Moat Pete game?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
it's vintage.
Is that the Wizards that they were playing?
Wizards, yes.
Jeez.
Vintage catch, turn around, fire in midair. Everybody thought the game was dead and buried. And
the Chuck Swirsky call.
Shout out to Chuck Swirsky. He's one of the most underrated, underappreciated
what a change in the broadcast, the Raptors broadcasting world from Chuck Swirsky to Matt Devlin. I mean, someone up top at MLSE was like,
well, we need somebody more censored.
We're going the complete opposite way.
We don't want any personality.
Exactly.
Forget that.
Yeah. Jack's our personality. And Leo's our basketball guy. 89-82 the final. Man, that was a fun game to watch. Stay tuned. Next up, we got two teams that are looking for their first wins of the season. I love games like that because, you know, everything is going to be put on the line. Halifax Prep, St. Laurent up next. Stay with us.